Hello and welcome to Album Review, the
What?
podcast. It's gonna peak so bad. The podcast where we review an album every now and again. I would say weekly, but it's not necessarily going to be weekly.
Not even bi-weekly.
It's been pretty good the last 4 times in a row.
We've been consistent.
We have been fairly consistent.
We trash.
I apologise if anyone was waiting for the It was Wet Leg album review to come out this Wednesday, because it didn't, even though I said it was going to. Very personal reasons.
Really? Yeah.
They're all let down.
Definitely.
It was hard to hear what happened to your hamster, but accidents happen, you know. Sometimes they do just fall into these kind of industrial machines.
I know, it's weird.
Or like a strimmer.
Yeah.
It's bad that you took your hamster for a walk and then trimmed the grass.
At the same time, it's weird.
Nibbles!
More than just a tickle.
Literally. These things happen. But no, it's scheduled for next Wednesday at 5, definitely. So, look forward to that. This week's album was, as you can see in the middle, Is This What It's Like? Is that what that says? I can't read it.
Is this what I look like?
Is this what I look? I can't read it. I'm
You
looking at it.
picked it well.
I know, but it's not even an album, really, is it? Fuck's sake. This is the album I picked. As it turns out, it's actually probably more of an EP, but by our usual album review logic, there's 7 songs, and it's an album on Spotify.
Wow,
so it's an album.
Seven songs, you know.
6
I feel
and
like
a half,
they're
maybe.
stretching out there. They're really stretching.
But they said
I think our rule is if Spotify says the word album, then it's an album.
It's an album.
It's free use.
You know what really confused me though is that I go on their Spotify and their earlier thing to this was an EP of this album minus 3 songs, but one of the songs missing being the half a song. So they brought out a version of this album that just had 2 songs less, and then brought out this but with 2 songs.
I think
Why?
It's the classic when they just do single and then release the next single, and it's got just the next. So they just add it to the other song, and then release another single and add it to the other thing. Loads of artists do that. I don't know why. So this is why I assumed it was an album, right? And it's in the albums thing, and it wasn't until afterwards when Denver Googled it, and saw that the artist has said that it was an EP. But it's basically got an interlude in the middle. So why would an EP have a fucking interlude in the middle? I don't know.
Facts.
Anyway,
Just spice it up a bit.
I'm hoping it doesn't drop any of your things because it's an EP. But knowing Denver, it probably has done.
I wouldn't be petty enough to do something like that.
This all being said, I fucking loved this album. Not gonna lie.
Nice.
We've obviously reviewed them before. Previous album was Self-Care, and people really enjoyed that. I think, especially Aidan.
I didn't give it a 10.
I did give it a 10. This album, the style has definitely got slightly heavier. Did you give it a 6 last time?
I give it a 6, yeah.
I think I'm being shocked because they're basically just like old Paramore stuff, so I don't get why.
Yeah,
but
I'd say this is more old Paramore-y than
the previous album. Definitely.
Yeah,
mostly because it's definitely heavier and didn't have necessarily a slow song in it at all, whereas the other one had like two extra like acoustic-y type songs on it, slower ones at least, and I think that's actually what this lacked, to be honest. I still really enjoyed it, and I thought there was no bad songs generally, other than the interlude thing, which isn't bad, but I just think it's a bit pointless. It doesn't really add anything to what the album is. If anything, it just made it an album for us because it's 7 songs.
Yeah, it literally just made it tick that box. I feel like that song though, they should have not had it as an interlude.
Yeah,
and they should have done what the 1975 did with what was the main single off the last album.
The main single off the last
album.
You're
gonna have to narrow it down, lad.
I'm trying to look through the album review because everyone listed it as their favorite. I'm trying to look through the list of when we fucking last did them, but
That's a long while ago, mate.
When was the last album? Was it 2020?
You come half cocked into this. He had a plan, but he was half.
Oh
cocked.
god, I can't remember the name of the
song.
song.
1974.
It was If You're Too Shy.
Yeah.
Do you remember how that had like a minute intro before it started in the actual version? On the radio version, that was completely cut.
Yes.
I feel like that song, they should have just had it as part of
Another song.
Hallucinate, because it perfectly fades into Hallucinate.
It does, yes.
So they should have just had that. Like you say, that should have just been the start of that song. So that should have been a whole song. But then it wouldn't have been classed as an album by Spotify's algorithm. Because it would have been 6 songs. But
it definitely didn't add to it, and it was kind of just a bit weird sounding. But it sounded alright at the start of Hallucinate, if that was the song name. It was the song name, wasn't it? Yeah. But as generally, I didn't think it really added to anything. Made it a bit pointless. And like I say, I think what they could have done, but I guess if it's an EP, if it was a proper album, 2 extra songs, like being a bit slower, would have broken it up a bit more. It was lucky that it was so short that it never seemed to outstay its welcome for having songs all that was a bit high paced kind of thing.
yeah, like if they had any more, it would have to be a little bit of a change up, wouldn't it?
Yeah, literally. I thought the vocals were great. Like, she's generally just a great singer. There was every like song that stood out had like a really catchy chorus, super memorable. The lyrics were generally quite good. I just didn't hate anything about this album at all, but I also don't.
But when you have something this short, it's hard to hate it.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say.
Wrong.
Oh,
okay.
I hate small things.
There's just not a lot.
Like babies.
Say. Oh my god. I hate babies.
I hate babies.
I hate babies.
Generally speaking, I don't have a lot to say other than there was a lot of catchiness. It was all sang well. I thought they were written well. And it's kind of what I exactly expected it to be, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. But I enjoyed it. And that's about it, really. Worse for me was Bruises. It just didn't stick with me at all, and I felt like Drew York didn't add anything to the song at all.
Oh, if anything, it made it worse, didn't it?
Yes.
I feel like his tone was so just off how the song felt.
Yeah, I don't think he added anything to the song.
I think it was a complete. It made it worse. It would have been better without him and just kept with her.
You are both so fucking wrong.
I found every other song on this album memorable, whereas that one.
So this was like one of the best hooks on the whole album.
I think I didn't put this as my least favorite because I thought the rest of the song was good, but I thought that Drew York's part ruined it. Like, it did not make it better compared to Hallucinate, where I think Yumi Singer did add to that song.
Yes.
Like, it would have worked with or without him in that song, but it did still work. Whereas I felt it really threw me off every time Drew York sang in Bruises.
Don't get me wrong, Joe. I do like the song. I didn't hate anything on this album, and I genuinely like it. The main point, and I thought, like you said, the main hook of the song was great. It was generally for me. I just didn't think Drew York really added anything.
Drew York.
It didn't really add to anything. So if I was looking for like something to dislike on the album, I had to find, and that was the only thing that I didn't really like, other than the interlude, which I didn't really want to put as the worst song because it didn't really feel like a song.
Don't get me wrong. I think the only problem I had with Drew York is like he felt like he didn't bring the energy where she was going all in.
You mean
yes,
Drew York?
Shut the fuck up.
Drew Yawn.
Nice.
Oh no, that right.
Yenon.
Relatively acceptable.
Yeah.
Not Yenon.
Yenon.
Yenon. Or Dredollar W.
Dredollar.
Yenon.
You're a mistake.
Fuck. I found the top 3 quite hard to pick, because all the songs.
Why? There were
Not
7
much to
fucking
choose
songs.
from.
Right.
Because
right, you can joke, right? But I only didn't particularly stick with 2 songs, which was the fucking interlude song and Bruises. So everything else could have gone in there. So there was 2 other potential. That's maths, isn't it? 2 other potential songs, which all
fucking
could,
hard choice that will.
but it still
you
is.
3 of 5 is what you're saying.
Yeah, but like it could
Well,
have been
that
any
worked
of
quite
them
well,
on a
3 of
different
5.
day. It could have been because I really liked the intro song to the album, but I felt like the only reason that didn't get in my top 3 was because I'd heard it a lot more, so I was a bit more bored of it. But it's still a great song, and it opens up the album really well. Third, I went for Hallucinate. I think it's a very big, very good song. And You Me at 6 definitely add to the song. And their voices work really well together. Aidan, you've pulled judgmental faces this whole album review.
It really has, hasn't it?
I'm trying to.
The thing is, it's Aidan.
I'm trying to let you all
be,
know.
It could be about to go 10 amazing, or it could be like, well, considering they gave a 10 album before, this is horrendous.
This is my I really agree with you face.
Right.
I tell you what though, You Me at 6. I don't like the way he sings anymore.
No, I like the way he sings,
You
but I don't like
you
the
never
new.
liked
I
it
don't like the new
before. What are you
songs.
talking about?
I grew into
You've always
it.
no, you
You
didn't.
never
You've always had a
listened to them.
gripe. You've always had a chip on your shoulder for
I
Josh
did, but then
Franceschi.
recently I've
Nah,
really
you're a
liked You Me at
bitch.
6.
You're a bitch.
And no, because I even picked it for album review, didn't
Doesn't
I?
matter. Doesn't matter. What, you think that makes you okay?
Yeah.
I've got a black friend. I'm going to say the N word.
No, I just don't like the
doesn't
way he
make it
sings.
all right, does it, Jack?
Don't like the way he sings.
No.
Yeah, you're right. I've always had a chip on my shoulder about the way he sings.
You hate
It's
him.
got worse. It's got worse.
I love his voice. I just don't
I
like.
don't
their
like
new
the
music,
effects they
really.
put on. They've gone too modernized with it. It's all overproduced. His voice
Sorry.
and the new songs. But we're not talking about You Me at 6. But this song specifically, don't like him in it.
They don't really add anything to his voice. That's just how he sounds.
What, like all like auto-tuned?
I couldn't even notice auto-tune. What? James
I think
says
you should just shut up, Will, because Joe is a sound engineer, so he can pick up on these things that we
Yeah.
miss.
clearly. James says
I think-
feel... oh.
Go on. No, go
James
on.
says I feel like Starbucks always takes these so serious and deep compared to the rest.
That's right.
Are you Starbucks?
Yes, I'm Starbucks. I don't take them serious, but if people disagree with me, they're, you know,
Then it's time for
They're wrong.
violence,
it is
really.
violence.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
No, I think I've been hypercritical there with You Me at 6. Just re-listening to that song. Doesn't sound as bad as I remembered it. But
See, it's just because you hate them, Joe.
no, I don't.
This
hate
was
you.
this was
I
a
love You Me at
predetermined
6.
hatred. No,
No,
Terrible.
no biased opinions going on here. That's only Will.
Absolutely
So-
not.
Never have. Oh my god. Second for me was
Nibbling.
Careless Kind. It's just ridiculously catchy. The hook in it stuck with me. Arguably more than even my favourite song.
Doesn't that main riff sound like a all-time low? So
It does, yes.
well, I can't put my
remember what
finger on
song
which
it
one it
is.
is.
But every time I always thought that it sounded like All Time Low as well. And that was literally what I was going to say. So we got
sorry.
You're thinking A Love Like War.
yes.
Love Like War.
That's it.
Yeah.
Look at that, in 2 seconds. There could be a
that's
fucking
ridiculous.
genius
I haven't
on
listened
that
to
shit.
All Time Low in ages.
Because that was a bit of a nothing song for me, maybe. Hang on, let me check my... Yeah, no, it must have been a nothing song.
For me, it was just the main hook.
Oh my god,
in
it literally has the same strum pattern.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of music out there. There's going to be similar things. Anyway, I found just the main hook stuck with me so much that it was worth putting in my top 3. Like I say, I still think that stuck with me more than... The verses were, like, still good, but the chorus was great. But for the number 1, I went for If You're Drowning, I'll Learn How to Hold My Breath. The whole song is just big and fast and hype. Super, like, good vocals. It's ridiculously catchy chorus. And it's just
Wow.
the most memorable of the lot.
It's a good song. I just feel like it's a bit too whiny.
Oh my god.
It really is
Wow,
hypercritical
yeah.
today, isn't it?
Literally, what is
What
this?
is this shit?
I'm
What are
having
you
to
doing?
be because it's a good album, so it's hard to find the flaws. So I'm going
Is it?
Hypercritical.
Aidan, stop this.
No, it's a good EP.
So it's a
Fuck
good
off,
EP.
you freak. I'm so ready to Denver being
Wait,
like,
does that
it's
mean-
a 1
does-
because it's not an album.
Does that mean we make a new spreadsheet, Denver? It's
The
EP,
EP
reviews.
EP review, yeah.
No.
Devil loves spreadsheets. Don't say that. He'll start fucking vibrating.
It's not
Another one.
vibrating.
This just felt
I'd love
like, for me, an album.
I mean, if we wanted to bring out rules, this is also within 5 picks, but we got rid of that rule, so...
Yeah, but again, we had a 6-month break, Denver.
If we want to break out the rule book, guys.
For fuck's sake. It's for time, it's not for thing. There's not a lot to say about this album, other than just because it is so short. I do wish it was longer, and I do wish there's a couple acoustic tracks added in there if it was an album. But generally speaking, I thought like the songs felt like singles. They were all good enough to be singles in their own right. So there'll be lots of albums being added to my playlist. It's good. I just wanted a bit more.
Fair enough.
That's all I really have to say. And I hope it was a bit more listenable than the last stuff we've been listening to. Because we had 3 albums of weird shit, didn't we?
I like the weird shit. Actually, I just looked at my ratings. Apparently not.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
Is it me?
It's Joe.
It's me. I've not got much to say about this album, so I'm going on a hot topic that I found out the other day.
Okay.
All right.
Wasn't expecting this.
So I found out from Holly actually the other day. There's a thing.
Who's
on
Holly?
my girlfriend. Who
Gross.
I found out that if you put the word dirty and then your name in the Urban Dictionary, it comes up with a nice surprise, a nice little thing. So, for example, we'll start off. Well, Denver doesn't have one because he's got a stupid name.
Yeah,
but
fair.
We'll start with a dirty Aidan, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So the act of doing a dirty Aidan is masturbating while submerging your scrotum in a teapot of boiling water and then finishing it off by ejaculating into the teapot, garnishing it with flakes of your burnt skin, and then serving it to an unexpected person. That's the act of a dirty.
I don't know how you'd get away with this, to be honest.
It'd be pretty obvious, wouldn't it?
You're in the care home, you're like, here's your tea, and it's just like a mug with my spaff in it.
Why? What is this? This is a cocktail website.
It's
No, it's not.
a cocktail website. Yeah, mate, it's on bartenders.
That's what it
for
sounds
you.
like, though.
What's the guy?
Yeah,
Tipsy
Aidan.
bartender. I love him. Okay, we're gonna come behind that with some rum and coke. You always gotta come behind everything. Stop it.
Come
Behind that with
behind.
some ice. He does. That's what he says. Gotta come behind that with some blue curacao.
A dirty will, for example, is that this sexy beast walks upon mortals, stealing only hearts as he is an attractive mother trucker. Be careful, guys. He'll steal your gal.
This is the best site I've ever heard of.
What the fuck? Why is my fucking wanking on
So
the
fucking
tea
vile.
This is vile.
It's just like, stay safe, ladies. He's a heartbreaker. And I'm getting kicked out of the care home.
A dirty Joe is when performing anal sex and the recipient farts on the penis of the giver.
Denver's like, go on.
Anal?
Why is this a website?
It's the Urban Dictionary. It's just you type it in. While James is here, I'll do James's. So Dirty James is when a slutty girl can shoot pool by putting the stick in a vagina.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Thailand.
Are these
These are
actual
all
things?
these are all things. Yeah.
Mine is so good.
So,
I'm
Will's
just
Yeah.
gonna start-
Will's is so good.
Shut the fuck up.
Alright, go come in a cup, mate.
Well, to be
I
fair,
might.
a dirty will can also mean when you shove a toothbrush up a girl's pussy while she's on a period and use a period blood to brush your teeth.
I'll take it back.
9 out of 10 dentists recommend.
Joe, if I could kick you, I would.
Anyway, album review.
Yeah, thanks for that, Joe. That really
Thanks,
added
Joe.
a lot to this episode.
I just don't have a lot to say about this album.
It also really linked well with the album itself.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it.
Yeah.
And it
Very
wasn't just a
topical.
really abrupt
nice
and horrible
segue.
tangent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. This album is just good, but worse than their last album.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's all I want to say about this album. That it lacks significant hooks like the previous album did. She's still great in it. Everything sounds well produced. The guitars are nice. My main concern is that none of their music really feels original. It all feels like they've took inspiration from other things, which is nice. It's how anyone makes music, but really just copied it rather than making it their own thing. That would be my only criticism. That doesn't mean to say I'm not going to listen to it. I really love this album. It's a great album, EP, whatever you want to call it. It feels like they were really pushing for the album, though, even though they know it's an EP anyway.
They've said it's an EP, Joe. It's not.
I know,
that they
but
were
like
pushing.
that interlude wasn't needed. So there's 6 songs. It's my least favorite song. That interlude is my least favorite song. It's not needed. So it doesn't need to be there. My third favorite song, however, from yours truly, is "Walk All Over My Grave." When I first started listening to this album, I was like, "Holy shit, this is proper nostalgia for old Paramore." I feel like this was the closest song to like old Paramore that's in the album. I felt the energy. I felt the vibes. It got me. I thought this is going to be a great album. Then, unfortunately, none of it was as good as the previous stuff. And I feel like if I listened to this album before I'd even heard the other album that they did, I'd probably love it 10 times more. But because I know what they've achieved and like what they can do, it's probably lost a few points for me because of that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair. I feel like that's probably an opinion that shouldn't let it get in the way. But not knowing how good they could be is like...
I feel like any of these songs
frustrating.
could have been put straight in that old album, though.
I don't think so. Because none of them had like the big hooky choruses that the old album had. In my opinion. My second favourite was Bruises. Great hook. This is just contradicting my previous statement, but great hook.
Fuck's sake.
It's just, I feel like, Joe, this is your personality of just make a statement, immediately say a statement which contradicts first statement.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is your life.
I feel like I've been harsh in my wording because by saying it's not as good as the previous album, it sounding like I'm saying it's got no good hooks or nothing like the old album. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's still really good, just falls a bit short from the old album, like a bit. It's still really good. It's still really good. I know, but you can't help but feel that way, knowing what it is.
Ooh, hits him with a compare review.
I know. I've been roasted.
Why? How do you always do this? I've been toasted.
My favourite of the album was Careless Kind. I only really realised that it sounded like an all-time low song today when I woke up with it in my head. But I wasn't singing that riff. I was singing the all-time low riff because the all-time low riff is better. And I was like, oh, wait. I also know that song. That's a Yours Truly song. But no, it's not. It's an all-time low song. I just didn't know which one it was. But still really catchy. But probably the best hook on the album. Guitar-wise and vocal-wise, in my opinion. And that's really all I have to say about this album. It just falls a little bit shorter than the previous one we listened to.
Thank you, Joe.
No worries.
I think my opinions of the last album are a bit different, so I guess that immediately throws up where I can't say I think it's worse than the last album.
What did we all rate the previous album? Just
10.
Yeah, I know Aidan rated it at 10. I remember that. Yeah,
I think I was like a 9 or a 9.
10, 6, 8, 9.
Did I rate it?
Denver rated it a 6.
Yeah. Okay.
So this album, I felt like it was too short to really develop like an actual good feel for the album of what it was about, because it was before it started, it was over.
Even though he said it wasn't going to be about an EP.
It's
technically,
not. It's not. But by proxy of being a short album,
it is about it being an EP. How does he do it?
But it's true though. I'm not downright it just because it's an EP, but by proxy, like you say, of it being basically
it just worked out that way.
It is, but it does
getting
because
so much brighter in my room. I don't know what's happening.
You're like glowing.
Jesus is coming for you now.
This is the end.
If I let it like,
there you go.
No, it's not that much better. Fuck it.
But no, like if you ever have this on, like, and you're not like concentrating on it, it's over before you've realised. You're like, what?
Yeah, that's very true.
Like you do any like small activity while this is playing, and it's over.
Like arms dealing.
Exactly. I think the production's really solid, and her vocals are stunning throughout. But why is there an intermission in the middle of this? It just makes it like
intermission for the shortest album ever.
Yeah, because the intermission makes it think like they have tried to make it an album.
Yeah,
but it's just it's just pointless. And I really think, like I said before, when you were doing yours, Will, they should have just stuck that on the front of Hallucinate.
Yeah, and
then had like the long version of Hallucinate, and then like release Hallucinate as a single or something without that version.
I totally agree.
Because it does when you get like halfway through that interlude, it does work as quite a cool start for Hallucinate. So it's just a bit weird why they have that in there. But I feel like kind of similar to the last album, while I think it's good, I just fail to connect to a lot of the songs. I feel like they're just, I don't know, there's just something missing from them that I can't quite, I never love any of the songs. I just think they're good.
Sure.
Which is weird compared to, maybe it's just because I've never like listened to them that, to like getting us in while doing anything that's then associated with that music or anything. I don't know. I just always, they fail to grab me somewhat. So even though I thought a lot of them were good, like I definitely really liked one of them, similar to the last album, which I was like, yeah, that's going on my like favorite songs list. And then I was always taught that even my second favorite, I was kind of like, I don't know if I want this on my favorite songs list or not. I don't know. But my least favorite, not because it's necessarily the worst, just because of why the hell is it on here, is this what I look like? Just because, why? It's as if they've put it on there, really, just to get the title in it. Like, I don't know if there's some rules with EPs where the EP has to be named after a song. But, like, it just feels like that is in there to just, like, make up the numbers.
It is just unnecessary, really. But in a lot of albums, interludes are unnecessary.
What do they mean as well? You know? Like, no one's ever asking what the numbers mean anymore.
Well, it's quite funny if you ever looked at the lyrics on that song, because it doesn't have any. The thing's just like, we're working on lyrics for this song, but haven't got it working at the moment.
They're like, we can't figure it out.
Eventually, they're just going to add someone like voicing the instruments.
What they should do is get the chords, resurrect the chords, and get them to write lyrics for someone going like, yeah, all of them died.
All of the chords are dead.
All the chords are dead like 15 years ago.
Not a single chord remains.
That's so sad. We could have cheered them up 15 years ago by doing the review for them. But then again, we didn't really.
There is no way in hell that they would have watched the review if we'd have done it 15 years ago. Not because I would have been 7 or whatever, or 8, but also because they would have been like 90 odd. So if they're like, look, somebody made a video of you, and they would have been like,
and then we would have slated them, and then they just died there.
They're like, the chords didn't really. They were just zibbity zobbity zabbing, and they're like, oh.
They would have died 15 years younger.
It has so much more depth to it than that.
The lyrics had zipper meaning.
I like the idea they're still doing it. Like,
just in normal life.
Like fucking Parkinson's or something.
Around the house.
I mean, that's a really bad joke. But...
Zim zam zibbity
My least favourite wasn't Bruises for basically the reason that outside of the Drew York parts, it was a really good song and would have been had they had not had that feature or just had a vocalist that would have suited the song better. I don't necessarily say that he was really bad at singing. It just didn't really suit the flow of either her voice or the song to me. It just felt really disjointed. Whereas my third favourite... Oh, hang on. Have I said my second favourite?
No.
So... Well, anyway, third favourite, hardest song to pick, because I definitely knew my 2 favourites, but the other one was kind of equally, a lot of the other songs, apart from Bruises, were kind of the same. But I picked Walk Over My Grave because kind of similar to what Joe said. I thought it was a good start to the album and always did think like, oh, what is this? God, is this going to show me anything different from what the last album they did got me? And kind of not, because... Again, most songs failed to grab me, despite the fact I could appreciate it was decent. I just didn't love any of it. And bar one song, this album was the same. So third favourite, Walk Over My Grave for the first song. Second favourite, Hallucinate, because of how well the You Mean It 6 and Yours Truly singers sing together. I thought that was the perfect example. Everything that was good about that song was what made Bruises bad.
Yes. Exactly.
Even though, arguably, on its own, without the accompaniments, Bruises was maybe even better. Just the fact that as a package of a song, Hallucinate worked really well. And then my favourite was Careless Kind. It just has that classic build hook, really good hook line, and then the rest of it is equally as good as a lot of the other songs on this album. Just as an album, again, too short to really grab it. It was kind of just on, and it was as soon as you started, it was over again. So most of the time, it failed to grab me. But I would happily listen to it over and over again. But whether I'd ever choose to listen to it again, no, I wouldn't. I would just listen to probably Careless Kind, and then leave the rest.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
So. That's it, really. Yeah. Review done.
Go on, Aidan. You stupid face. I can see you.
He's itching, isn't he?
Judgmental face this entire time. I've not been enjoying it, so go on, go and...
You've not been enjoying my face?
No,
good, because I haven't been enjoying this album.
Oh,
that's right.
Really?
Yeah, genuinely. I am so unbelievably meh about this album. It's like, it doesn't help that I rated the other one a 10. But that being said, even my least favourite on the old album are better than any of them on this one.
Yeah. Maybe not Careless Kind, but yeah.
I'm curious to look at what your least favourite was.
Isn't even fucking close to the top 3 for me.
Really?
Not even in there.
That's weird.
Holy shit.
Yep. So I guess by that statement that I just made, this album must be the world's first zero. Sorry, lads, it had to happen at some point.
Shut up, it's not. It's still good.
Every time this album would end, it would autoplay a song that I'd much rather be listening to. Every time. Every single time. And that would be pretty regularly because it would end in about 20 minutes. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I could listen to like fucking that one Casket song. Or the good Sigrid and Bring Me the Horizon song. That's quite nice. I'm listening to it now. It's a good song. I really like the Sigrid part and not the Bring Me the Horizon part. Anyway, yeah, I was just so lukewarm to this album. Like, none of the hooks were great, and it also feels like just way less passionate. Like, they're just going through the motions and making music. They're just like, we had to make it. We made an album, EP, for the sake of it. And it sounds like I'm hating on this album, but I'm not. I'm just really like a dad. I'm just disappointed. I'm just so disappointed.
You know, it's still a good result, but not what you expected.
No, exactly. Like, it's like an under threes team, like scoring a goal against Barcelona. Yeah, they lost 35-0, but like they scored a goal, and you've got to give them credit for that. You know what I mean? Yeah, and we know the thing is that they can be fantastic, but instead they're just more like, you know, like against the current level, just a bit meh, just a bit like.
This was like definitely an against the current level.
Yeah, like just kind of dog shit, you know.
Not dog shit.
No, sorry,
Definitely against the current. Fuck me.
The worst song for me was Hallucinate.
No.
Yes.
Why?
Even Josh Franceschi couldn't save this song. Just
Fuck
boring.
you. This is
Just
so out
basic.
there.
Just
No.
it's so just. I have been hating albums recently, and I don't know why. It all started with Wet Leg, and I think it's just right in my brain that every album past this point has just been dog shit.
It's not.
Think,
This is.
you'd think
so
that
much better
Wet
than
Leg
anything
would
else
make
listened
every
to.
other album.
Yeah, you'd think
look
it'd be better, but instead
Yeah.
it's just like burnt into my brain.
He
And
rated
everything just
Madeline
sounds
at
like
6.5.
ass. A 6.5 exactly, but Madeline was a fantastic singer, if not just a gimmick album, to be perfectly honest. Third favourite for me was the Drowning song that I haven't written down right. If You're Drowning, something.
Yeah.
It's upbeat, but it's still meh. Not really bothered. Second favourite for me, Bruises. Probably the most unique chorus-wise, but then again, still nothing really that special.
Did you like New York?
It had contrast. I'm not saying if it's good or bad, but it was there. It was like, it's like publicity, you know. I suppose all contrast is good in some way.
So why isn't Careless Kind up there for you? Like, was there just a nothing song?
Nothing song, just when like.
I can't believe that.
Right to the Twin Towers.
Well,
Just
for me, it was by far the standout.
What was second?
Bruises.
Careless Kind was second for me, but I still think it was the most catchy of the whole album. And it had, like,
I don't think any of them were that catchy.
Have you said your favourite?
Even when I think back now, I can't really like remember any of them. I'm reading them out, but they're just words on a page. Normally, you can sort of like you know, you read it and you're like, oh yeah, this song. But I've not had that with any of these. None of them. Number one for me was Walk Over My Grave. The notes for that were, yeah, it's all right.
Right.
Overly
there is
disappointed.
no way this is bad. Especially compared to what we've listened to just lately. Stop being so negative.
I think he's memeing. I think he's memeing. You're
this is
memeing, aren't you?
pre-fucking...
No, because his picks are like all over.
Oh yeah, they're all over. He didn't pick the careless one.
No, but the rest of us all at least agreed on 2 songs.
Yeah, I agreed with Joe on Bruises in second place.
Aidan, this is a preconditioned hate, and we need to stop this now. What's going on, bud?
What preconditioned hate? I fucking love yours truly.
Exactly, so why are you shitting on it?
Because I'm disappointed, Will.
Yeah, but it's
It
still
could have been
good.
really, really good. No,
great.
it's just meh.
It's still
It's
great.
fine. It does the
came
job.
out 16 days ago.
I know, that's why I
Didn't
picked
realise
it.
that I knew it was.
It does the job. It does what it needs to do, and it is music. Whether or not that be a good thing or not, it is an album, EP, with songs on them that have instruments in them.
Right, you're telling me you wouldn't happily listen to just these songs on their own in a playlist?
No, probably
That's
not.
such a lie. You would,
I wouldn't even put them in the playlist.
That's such
To be honest, I won't be putting any of these songs in my playlist.
I won't.
Whereas I put at least 4 of them
I
in my
think,
playlist.
you
from
know
the
what,
last
Will?
album.
You're trying to attack me here. I think you're all just too nice. You're too lenient on albums.
Definitely
I have the
not.
balls to say, you know
I
what?
told someone to get
Maybe
a job.
this isn't good. Maybe
No,
this
well,
isn't good
yeah,
at
well,
all.
you waited Wet Legs so fucking hard.
I did wait wet legs
Like,
so hard.
You did wait Wet Leg.
Would you what? Wait, Wet Leg, and why?
I gave him a 3.5 because I enjoyed it.
I've been bored.
Because you enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's
I
what
enjoyed
thought.
a couple of the songs.
See, that's what you sound like. Shut the fuck up.
You're such a bitch.
Did you hear that Mendes has had to stop all his tour for mental health issues?
No, holy shit.
Yeah.
That was a really
Right,
weird thing
we
to
didn't-
cut in with Denver.
Yeah. Did he watch our album review?
Oh, no, I was just clicked on my album review playlist, and then one of the
Did you
first
watch
ones
our
we
album
reviewed.
review?
We
Was
did
Mendes.
roast his last album. Like,
It
pretty
was
bad.
so shit, to be
Yeah.
fair.
No, didn't we say though that he needed to get like more depressed and
We
sad?
did. He's about to write the album of his fucking life.
He's
Is it right?
ready.
His next album's gonna be a banger, lads.
I can't wait.
We literally
This is so
criticised the
bad.
last album because we said it was too upbeat and happy, and now that he's got off with like depression, he's gonna make some
I
absolute
feel
bangers.
so bad.
We
Like,
shouldn't
he
be
probably
joking about
he
this.
watched the video
it's
and he was
alright.
sad, and then he got a phone call and it was just like, "Oh, your dog's dead," and he's like, "Oh no."
I hope it's
No,
just gonna
I know. I
alright.
said with
like-
Jess,
he's a
but I
lovely
really
guy.
hope he's okay. He is
Yeah.
so humble.
Bloody love
I love him.
Mendes. What a
What was
guy.
that? Like, why do you keep saying jest at the moment as well, Joe?
I
It's not
honestly,
16th century, like, English.
I'm not gonna lie, I
do
thought-
jest.
I thought he was saying Jess, as if he's got some friend called Jess who's.
What, and he do
Yeah,
jest?
yeah.
I do, Jess.
Oh, Jet.
It's just outright, he's just telling everyone that he's cheating.
He's just seeing like how many times can I
Why
like
does he
blend
slip
in the
it
fact.
in? Yeah.
Will anyone
And he's-
notice?
And he's just like, anyway, so my second favourite is my dog licks peanut butter off my bollocks. I mean bruises.
Oh, just randomly going. Oh, so I got to see Jess later. But my third pick was.
Then I went, yes.
I honestly, that's what I thought you were saying. I didn't realise you
No,
were literally saying the
jesting.
word Jess
No,
instead
jesting. I'm jesting.
He keeps
of.
saying
You know,
it
that's
to
as
the
bad
man.
as when people say lol.
Holly's
No,
about...
it's not.
No, it is.
It definitely
I
is.
say I jest all the time, Joe. Don't worry
Nah.
about it. I would, after this though, go check Holly's
can't
not
believe-
stalking some girl called Jess on your Facebook friends.
I can't believe that I'm being called out for saying jest. Like
Hell,
that's such a
lol.
That's a
normal
normal
thing
thing
to
to
say.
say.
It's such a normal thing
Squire.
to say.
Squire, your wife is looking awfully terrible today.
Oh,
I jest. I jest.
Fuck's sake.
Doth Maiden looking like her cankles need cleaning.
To be fair, I'll tell you what I said earlier, and I had to check myself hard because we went to this Elvis thing last night, right? And the first thing I did in the morning was go up to my dad and go, "What riffraff were we doing? Were we with?"
I knew it. I knew it. You were saying that like fucking like Leanne and that was shouting out. It wasn't.
No, not
No,
Leanne, it was-
this is you. You
No.
talking about the poor people again.
No, it wasn't. It
You're
was.
a prick,
It
Joe.
wasn't. It wasn't because of that. It was because everyone was super rough. I saw someone
Yeah,
actually.
poor people.
Someone actually came and got angry with me for no reason. So I went outside for a cigarette, and this big bloke, like he was massive, came up to me and started saying, "You saying this Elvis guy's shit, are you? I'm not fucking having that, mate." Got really up in my. I said nothing. I was just happily sat there smoking, doing whatever, and he was like getting angry at me for no reason. And my dad was just stood behind him, pissing himself laughing, because he thought I was going to get beat up. It was really hard experience. for
And
me
you
to
know what
go
the
through.
worst part was? He had a Stella in his hand, not an expensive alcohol, not like Daddy would buy.
No, I had to
What,
check- I had
not
to
a
check
gin and
myself.
tonic, no.
What I really meant was, bloody hell, they were rough. But instead, I chose the wrong
You
word.
called them
And I
poor. That's what you did.
I had to check myself hard. I'm fucking poor.
Oh God! Overall,
I'd
anyway, I'm like done. Overall, Last of Us 2 was still more disappointing, but not by a lot.
Oh, fuck you. It's not that bad.
Well admitted, Last of Us 2 is bad. High five.
It's not bad.
Too late now. Can't backtrack on that. Video evidence, unless you cut it out.
Ratings.
8.
6.5.
6.5.
4.
It scores 25.
25.
A thumbs up or a thumbs down from Joe?
It's a thumbs up from me.
But a barely. It's like a.
No, it's not barely.
What
It's
did you
good-
rate
it's
the
a good-
chords, Aidan?
Did I rate
A
the
3 or
chords?
something?
3.5, yeah.
What the fuck? You're telling me
What
this
did
is
you-
only 0.5 above
But you
the
mean I
chords?
love the 2 first chord
Oh,
songs
go
on there?
fuck yourself.
And they were fantastic.
And I gave it a 3.
What did you give this, Aidan? Sorry,
Four.
I kind of blanked out. You give it a 4. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Are you
This
just
is
going to
no
wait on
way
that?
a
Sorry,
four.
Joe. Joe, no, hold up, Joe. What did you give it?
I give it a 6.5.
6.5. What the fuck are you on about? Shut the fuck up, Joe.
Okay, well, Joe. Well, see the positives here. Aidan preferred Biffy Clyro to this.
Had catchier songs. I'll always
Black
remember
Point
my favorite Biffy Clyro song. I flapped the switch on the generator.
I think, generally, Aidan, I think this is your least reasonable rating.
Literally, it's horrendous.
Hold on, what's this?
Oh, no fucks to give. Is that
Not a single one, lad. Shut the fuck up.
Fuck off.
Don't need your opinion here. Let me just check. Oh, what's this? Under my seal.
No fucks.
He's got none.
Yeah.
It's so swayed.
Just call me Sway.
No, swayed.
Try-harding album review.
I've got all the numbers.
I rate it a 1 because then all mine are 30s and all yours are nothing.
It's like in Come Dine With Me. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I hate when people do that. I had a lovely meal, service was great, but unfortunately, Donna's a bitch, and if I give her more than a 6, she'll win a 3.
Well, it'd be like, so-and-so did forget to bring out the right type of fork, so for me it is a 6.
Yeah, like they just find anything, don't they? Tell you what, Denver, your mum would be fucking fantastic. She would love it. She would go there and be like, hello, and she'd hug everyone, and then like on the camera she'd be like, fucking hate him. Instantly, 1. I've not even met him, but he's bald and he has working man's clothes.
But then she would absolutely love whoever served the most alcohol.
Yeah, he would. Oh, the wine was just on tap. A 3.
Terrible.
Oh god.
Just don't
You're
use
getting older by
insulting
the
Denver's mum.
Just don't use the wet room. That'll be fine.
Don't you dare use that wet room for its intended purpose. You got the wet room wet? Prick.
Next album.
Next album.
After a long and hard thought, I thought it's time to go for another possibly bad album.
Oh,
as we've had about 6 in a row.
We have not.
So we're listening to Harry's House by Harry Styles, the newest one.
Oh, nice.
This seems like it's got some.
It does not have any no sway.
Not at all.
I said I'm gonna pick Harry Styles, and Will said really, and I said yeah.
When did it
what
come
makes
out?
you think that I would choose that, Denver?
Because you bang on about it all the time.
I haven't spoke about this album to you.
Well, I know about it somehow, and it's not from myself.
I've not spoke about this album to
You definitely have said
once.
before, oh, Harry Styles has got a new album.
Yeah, I must speak about it loads.
I can't believe you keep bringing up the Harry Styles.
No, what the fuck?
When did it
It
come
just,
out?
it just has Will Pick written all over it.
I'm not allowed to like Harry Styles, Denver.
No.
When did it
'cause
come out?
I don't.
I may love this. I don't think I've heard any of them unless has any of them been on the radio?
This
about
year,
4
Joe.
of them.
It came out this year. Not that long ago. It was like probably a month ago, maybe.
Well, like I said that I haven't listened to the radio, so maybe this will be amazing. Who knows?
Sometimes you've just got to flip that switch on the
If
generator.
you haven't heard any of these, I'll be very surprised.
I'm gonna have a quick flick through now.
He's got that one that's like a single or whatever
There's
that
quite a
like
few.
everyone loves, as it was.
As it was, has been the main one.
Which I just hate.
Oh
that
yeah,
song.
I've
So
heard.
I'm
As
so
it was.
excited to have it be the main focal point of the album.
It's not. Don't worry.
I've heard as it was because of TikTok.
Yeah. You'll have heard a few more, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say you've probably heard loads of them then,
Right.
because all 14-year-old white girls love Harry Styles. That's not even like me doing a dig. That's just true.
Harry Styles is very big at the minute.
He's big right now, bigger than me, and I'm big.
Big.
Got any closing thoughts, Joe?
Did you know
Ugh.
that when you're a baby,
Baby.
when you're a baby, you grow a mustache in the womb, and it covers your whole body, and then you shed it before
Joe never got rid of his.
Joe, did you
He
just
had the mustache
completely
the
make
whole
that up?
time.
Joe,
I've
did you
still
just make
got
that up?
mine. No, that's true.